All right, everybody. Welcome to kind of an impromptu, unexpected, Simply Cyber Live. Let me see how this works. Let me fix this. I'll explain what I'm doing in just a second here. So, couple things. One, I want to broadcast from the Simply Cyber LinkedIn page, which is what I'm doing right now. And the whole point of that is to unlock the LinkedIn Live so I can be able to broadcast to both the Gerald Auger LinkedIn page and the Simply Cyber LinkedIn page. So that's the deal. Now, what are we doing today? Today we will be doing, we're going to be talking about the NIST special publication 161r1, which is the Cybersecurity Supply Chain Risk Management Practices for Systems and Organizations. Now, this publication just came out on a couple days ago. All right, so it's a Simply Cyber brand channel. I did see it. If you're watching from the Simply Cyber LinkedIn channel, let me know in chat if you would. So what we're going to be doing over the next half hour or so, 45 minutes, is I have gone through this document. How can I do it? Hold on, I need to create a new overlay where it's just me and no more. There we go, just Jerry. Okay, cool. All right, so listen, I've gone through this whole document, right? This 326-page document, so you don't have to. And I'm going to tell you what you need to know specifically about this document and who it's for. Now, I'll drop a link in chat right now to the document. So if you want to pull it, you can. I have my initial thoughts. Okay, so here are my initial thoughts on this document. First off, this is a pretty, it's a pretty comprehensive document on helping understand the importance of the of the security of the supply chain and how it impacts cybersecurity. Now, the major takeaway is this can be operationalized and it's cool. The problem is, if you are a small business, you are screwed, okay? This is gonna take money, people, time, resources, logistical coordination, to properly do. I have a couple thoughts on how we might be able to do this for smaller, mid-sized businesses, but by and large, this seems challenging. It's not augmenting an existing capability. It is introducing a new capability onto the risk management framework. Okay. Now, having said that, this is not fluff. This document's not fluff. This document is dense, comprehensive, and actionable. So, what is the point? Why are we even caring about supply chain? So, here's the deal. Right now, oh wait, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. That's not a good look either. Hold on, guys. You're killing me, Smalls. What the heck is this nonsense, bro? Oh, I see. Look at you, fancy pants. Okay, so I don't know why there's purple there. So why would we want supply chain management security risk? Well, here's the deal. As we become more integrated with our systems, as we rely on third parties to deliver solutions, we begin to lose the visibility into understanding how secure things are. We have heard multiple stories of open source software, the NPM packages, Log4j, right? Log4j was a huge example where there's 3 volunteer developers who put in some feature request that someone asked for in 2012. And then all of a sudden it turned into this massive internet's on fire risk. Okay. So the need to understand that risk and then account for it and then mitigate it is paramount. We are no longer in a world where you have a big perimeter wall around your system and you have monolithic software solutions that are developed completely in-house by one organization, and then you bolt them in place. That's gone. We do cloud-based applications, right? Software as a service, platform as a service. We have all of this open source software that people use. So it becomes a real challenge. Now, one of the really great, so anyways, that's why we'd want to worry about that, right? So that's why they wrote this document. Now, I want to show you just one graphic that they have in here that really, really, like, I don't want to say highlights, but properly conveys this risk in a visual representation. Okay, so check it out. Where is it? It's got to be like right there. Okay. Okay, so check it out. Let me hide my face really quick. You guys don't need. Okay, let me hide me for a second. Okay, so look at this. Hopefully you can see this. On the left, the eyeball, that's effectively us, okay? And as you go to the right, you lose visibility, and that's why it's getting darker and darker in the shading. They're visually depicting that, listen, suppliers that you buy a system from, like external systems provider, the second rectangle there, right? Let's say that is some platform as a service solution, right? I don't want to name any, but let's just say it's some cloud file sharing service, right? Okay, well that's really cool. So hold on, so that's a cloud sharing service. Now that cloud sharing service actually uses open source system software and Jira and some type of IDE for continuous integration, continuous deployment. That's that external service provider providing that. And that organization is also using an external service provider, AWS, for example, to host their solution and infrastructure. And you've got like the developer, the second rectangle, right? So that developer, it's like an open source developer. It's a one-off developer. And they were contracted by a service as a subcontractor to a company that won the prime. Anyways, long story short, what they're saying is you get further and further away. So yeah, you might buy a packaged solution that says, hey, we've got the best security on the planet here. We invest heavily, but their developers use software from other places, and that wasn't vetted in any capacity. So you're only as good as that. This is a very difficult problem to solve for. This is why it's 300 pages and it's going to cost a lot of money to fix, guys, because it's not an easy problem. It's a very, the word that I've seen used in merger and acquisitions is entangled. There is massive entanglements around here. Now, let's get into the document itself and talk about how it actually tries to solve this problem. Now, one of the first things that I want to point out that I absolutely love is that obviously this document breaks down what cybersecurity risk management is and what risk management is and stuff like that. But here we go. Check this out. The very first thing I want to point out, and kudos to the authors at NIST for doing this. You see this audience profiles? Oh my God. I guess it was a hyperlink. Hold on. Can't click on it, Jer. So you see this section 1.4, audience profiles and document use guidance. This document is not designed exclusively for information security professionals. The authors of this document had the foresight and put in the work, frankly, you can tell, to address the different audiences who are going to be involved in securing the supply chain for businesses, right? So larger organizations, including government, will have acquisition and procurement people. Large organizations, I've worked at a $5 billion academic medical center. They have a purchasing office, and you have to go through procurement. You've got to get things approved. Is there budget? Does this meet whatever? Does it have a right approvals, right? Those people need to understand that they need to incorporate the requirements and the best practices in this document into their procurement requirements as well. It goes beyond that, right? So look at 141, enterprise risk management, right? If you're a large enough organization to have an enterprise risk manager, that person is responsible at the strategic level for ensuring risk is managed at the enterprise, including supply chain risk, because this is a real thing, as I've said ad nauseum. If you're familiar with the NIST 800-161r1, which had, hold on, let me pull it up real quick. And there's one graphic that'll absolutely resonate. Here we go. You guys can hear the my roofers. Okay, check this out. Can we do this? Nope. Hold on, guy. I'm live streaming, baby. Hold on. Come on. Is this going to be all pixelated? Ugh. Guys. Let's do this. Hold on. It's going to be all... Stop, guys. It's going to be pixelated, but it doesn't matter. This is the 839, and they're talking about risk... Oh. Hey, come on. Okay? Okay, so they're going to be talking about risk being... Guys, work from home, am I right? They're talking about risk at the different layers of the organization. So you can see at the tier 1, that is strategic risk. This is where executive leadership needs to be involved. All the way down to tier 3, which is information systems, which is what we engineers typically... Please, dogs. Literally, these dogs have not barked all day. Literally, they got acclimated, and now there's a roofer right outside the window. And there we go. There we go. So, anyways, yeah, I'll bring the pups on if they come over here. I'll show you guys. Anyways, I'm trying to have a serious briefing here on supply chain risk management, guys. Can you please? God. Hey, Lupe. So check it out. Oh my God. So what we're seeing here that they're gonna map supply chain risk to the overall enterprise risk management function. So they have, you can see here, tier 1 at the organization, the mission, and then the information system. And you could see here, they have 141 is that 141 is that tier 1 mapping, right? 142, see, mission and business process owners, right? Do you see here, tier 2, mission, business processes? This isn't an accident, right? And then level 3, they kind of break up, right? With information security, cybersecurity operators, which is what we are, and then system development, system engineers, system implementers. That is at the information system level. Is the music a problem? I don't know. Hopefully the music isn't a problem. I kind of thought the music was cool. Hey, Bob, I am live streaming onto YouTube right now also. Oh, I see you're on YouTube. Anyways, guys, music's a little loud. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me do this. Okay, so now I got the music down to 8. All right, there we go. So, anyways, my point is they've identified that this is going to be supply chain risk management is a big challenge to solve for, and it affects the entire enterprise. So they mapped it to the 839 risk model. Okay, so that's the very first thing you've got to understand. The next thing you want to understand, they do give you some background and understanding, is they give you a primer on supply chain risk, right? So like you may have an idea on what supply chain risk is and the supply chain and all this other stuff, but they do a nice job. And this is something that I would say to anybody that doesn't know NIST documentation. NIST is very good at being comprehensive. Okay, that's why it's 300 plus pages. They assume that you have no background on this topic and they give you all the pieces you need. And they do that no matter what the document is, right? So, you know, so there's that. That's these pieces right here, okay? Now, they go into integrating cybersecurity for supply chain risk management to enterprise-wide risk management. So they spend this whole section 2 on how you actually couple it. Because if you try to treat cybersecurity supply chain risk management as a separate thing that just gets handled over here and enterprise risk is over here, it's not going to work for you. You're going to have, it needs to intervolve with each other and couple and complement each other. So it's imperative, right? So they actually go through and explain how to do it at those 3 levels. Again, not a coincidence that they're broken at the same 3 levels as the 839, okay? Okay, now, one of the things that they do, okay, so I talked about the different, the different entities, right? The enterprise risk, the cybersecurity risk. I want to point out what they do here. So they actually, this is a really cool feature. I've never seen a document do this, okay? You can't expect to ask the enterprise risk manager for an organization, like an organization that's going to have enterprise risk manager is going to be a large organization. Small ones don't have them, okay? You can't ask like an executive or a senior leader to read a 300-page document, right? It doesn't all apply to them. It doesn't make sense. So what they've done here, and this is freaking brilliant, is they've literally tell you, hey, if you're the enterprise manager or business process owner, right? These are the sections of this huge document that actually pertain to you, right? If you're the cybersecurity practitioner, these are the sections, which is basically all of them, that apply to you. And if you work in procurement or acquisition, this is where it applies to you. So you can really tailor the document down and make it not just palatable, but relatable to the audience that you're trying to get read it. Again, you're going to have multiple audiences that need to consume this and buy in on it. And that was another, let me do a punch in real quick here. That was another major takeaway for me for this thing, right? So not only is it going to cost a lot of money, but guys, one of the major hurdles that you are required to pass in order to properly implement this is a cultural shift in the way that people work at your business, okay? Supply chain risk management supply chain risk needs to be acknowledged. Supply chain risk management needs to be supported by management, by funding it, right? Like nothing says we believe you like actual funding it. And they go into that in the document on the criticality of support and funding. It's going to take longer to get things. You're going to get pushback, like we can't do that because we don't have visibility into where the source came for the pieces that they use to build that solution that we're going to be getting, right? So whether it's manufacturing, whether it's whether it's hardware, whether it's software, just say for example, you're not going to use parts from China, right? Like just as an example. Nothing to do with politics or anything. You're not going to use parts from Taiwan. How's that? Well, if you say that and you mean it, well then culturally you got to be ready to support that. So when you go to buy something from made in America, right? Or assembled in America, and then you say, hey, that's great, I love it, but you need to explain to us where you got all the parts. Who are you buying your parts from? Where's your subs? And then they're like, oh, it's like 80% Taiwan, right? Okay, well now you're entered into this area where it's violating what your policy is or what your position is on not procuring or integrating systems and software, hardware, whatever, from your supply chain into your production environment from that country, right? So it's, like I said, it adds a lot of overhead, okay? So that's another thing. Another major reality that this document says is that, and I hinted about this earlier, is that in order to really get the wheels spinning on this thing, you need to have like steering committees for cyber supply chain risk management. Okay, like what is the strategy? Where are we going? What is acceptable? What's not acceptable? And then push that down to subcommittees that are going to be working on the different phases, which they do go into here. But I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever worked anywhere where they're like, hey, like I know you're doing your job as it is today, but we'd love for you to join this additional committee. You see this in higher ed like all the time. We want you to join this committee. We want you to take on this extra role. We want you to do this extra work, right? That's more work. That's might even be outside the scope of your job, right? And while that's a great way to get promoted and maybe get a little bit of extra money during review times, it requires people at the executive level, at the management level, and at the practitioner level all to be on these committees in order for it to work according to the documentation. Okay, so there is that, which I think that that's a huge hurdle to overcome, honestly, when you start asking people to take on extra levels of work that they hadn't necessarily agreed to. And they might, I mean, it's not like it's an extra level of work that you already know how to do. Like, you have to learn this using this document, okay? And oh yeah, you could see here, like, just as a quick aside, let me get my face a little smaller. You could see here that this is where they're talking about the different committees and who would compose those committees. And then, you know, the nice thing is what activities those committees are responsible for doing, right? So you could see, you know, you've got your executive committee for strategic risk and direction, your middle management and what their committees are. And like, really, this activities column on the right that my face is covering up, that this is kind of like the actionable takeaway, right? And they actually have some templates in the back that we'll get to that I really, really enjoy. But yeah, I said it. I enjoy the templates, okay? Feel me. So, here, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Template coins. So you can use the right column to understand the activities. And the cool thing is, if you're trying to roll this out, like if you're going to get serious about supply chain risk management, you need to have a plan. You need to be able to explain to your organization how we're going to do this. And this document provides you that actionable piece, right? It's cool. That part is really cool. So if you can get, well, I have ideas on how to do it for underfunded or smaller businesses and stuff like that. But here's our activities. This is good. Let's keep rolling. You can see here they have a nice little flow chart. This is the relationship between the documents in the cyber supply chain risk management. I personally didn't find this like super useful, right? Like, they do a lot of work in the document explaining who's responsible for what, right? So it says enterprise on the far left, but this is more of an executive level, mission, business, and then operational level. Again, guys, I can't say it enough. And if you just tuning in, then this will be the first time you hear me say it. They map this thing nearly 1-to-1 with the 839, which is this thing right here, right? And I know that's pixelated, but trust me, it's not an accident. They want you to implement cyber supply chain risk management the same way that you're implementing enterprise risk management. It is part of enterprise risk management, so you've got to be mindful of that. Where's my yeah, there we go. Okay, so what else are we doing in here? Hold on. There's some really cool stuff in here that I want to share with you guys. And if you got questions, drop them in there. We will do. I'll respond to your chat stuff as we go. Just put a Q at the front so I can visually see it really quickly. I am using Restream, not StreamYard right now, just from a production position. If you're a fan of or you're a member of the Simply Cyber community, you know. Yes, this does tie to 853. We'll get into that in a second. The 837 was in the GRC course, Carrie. All right, thanks, Justin. I appreciate that. Justin, if you can DM me or call out if there are questions, I'll have your Discord chat up. Okay, so they talk about in acquisition. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not an acquisition person, but okay, so they talk about it in procurement, right? Guys, I'm not acquisition procurement. I typically try to get in front of the procurement people and have solutions assessed for risk before I say, okay, it's good to go. And then boom, they can, it goes through procurement cycle. This is really interesting here because they're introducing layers of complexity for the procurement people to introduce into their workflows and processes to help support cyber supply chain risk management. So if you are, yeah, I mean, Justin, if you're working right now, don't sweat it. Just DM me and say you can't do it. If you are working in procurement or acquisition, this is where you want to live. And there's really great information here. I'm saying, anecdotally, I don't work in acquisition or procurement, so this might be hot trash and I don't realize it. Okay, so let's keep going. They do get into information sharing, which is like all the rage. So check this out. They have, hold on, let me look at my notes here. Okay, thank you. Okay, hold on, let me look at my notes, guys, because I did take a lot of notes. I want to see page 44. Page 44. Yeah. Okay, so check this out. They actually talk here about NIST 800-150, which describes key practices for establishing information sharing relationships. You could see it right here, right? And these bullet points indicate those information sharing things. So how do you get the information that like 3 layers down of your supply chain is a hot mess on fire, right? Well, they're hoping that you will have supply chain information sharing, and they offer these things up here. This right here, as far as I can tell, isn't really in place right now. So this is how you do it, but there's a framework or a shell on how to do it. But the value of this information sharing network is directly like one-to-one related to the value, to the size of the network, right? Just like a telephone, right? If only one person owns a phone, it's useless, right? There's no value in owning the sickest phone on the planet if no one else owns a phone, because who are you going to call, right? With information sharing, it's only valuable if more than, if everyone's doing it, so you can share information, right? So this is a shell. I'm sure some organizations are doing it. I don't know if they're doing it this well, but certainly useful. Again, guys, if we're talking about open source software by 3 volunteer developers on GitHub, they're not going to be doing all this stuff, right? So you're going to have gaps, even if you're like top tier information security, capability at an organization. Now, one thing that I wrote in my notes here, which says you're screwed. So let's get to that real quick. 45. Cyber supply chain risk management training and awareness. So this is training your end users, your procurement staff, everybody who's anybody at your organization about supply chain risk. Now check this out. I highlighted this in my notes. Okay, here we go. Right here, I highlighted this whole thing. And my note says, integrate into normal information security ops. Okay, so check this out. Read this statement here, or I'll read it. The enterprise should foster an overall culture of security. The enterprise should foster an overall culture of security. That includes supply chain risk management, okay? Listen to me. This is my point, okay? Listen to me. I'm the captain, okay? Check this out. Where's my punch-in? If your enterprise has a crap culture for information security, you can't do this. You're screwed. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but supply chain risk isn't going to be the golden apple that takes cybersecurity from being not taken serious at your organization to be taken seriously. You like using the techniques that we've talked about in the GRC class and other things, like we talk about in the morning threat briefings. You can begin to elevate cybersecurity and information security as a priority at your organization. Start helping end users protect themselves personally, and you will begin to get that cultural buy-in. And then when you have the cultural buy-in, you can integrate cyber supply chain risk management into it the same way you could introduce anything of information security value into your organization. Like, I appreciate that they're talking about integrating cyber supply chain risk management into the overall culture of your organization, but it doesn't have to be cyber supply chain risk. It's anything information security. That's the key takeaway. If you don't have strong culture at your organization, this isn't what's going to do it for you. You've got a bigger problem that you need to solve for before you try to solve supply chain risk management. Okay. Now, one thing also I loved about this document, we're reading the 800-161. I probably should have put this in the, I don't know who all's in chat. Let me do this really quick. I should have done this. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, guys. Talking NIST SP 800-161r1 supply chain risk management. Cybersecurity. Here we go. Why did that not go? Okay. Why is this not? There we go. Okay, there we go. So now people know what's up. Okay, so check it out. The next thing that's really valuable, and this I want to give a high five to the NIST people, okay? Do I have a high five sound effect? No. What would I give them? Here. Okay, way to go, NIST people. This is something brilliant. This is my favorite part, okay? Well, not my favorite part, but it's one of my favorite parts, okay? They have this section 3.4, key practices. Whoops. Key practices, you see it? Hopefully, by the way, that this is zoomed in enough so you can read it, okay? You are screwed. Okay, so check this out. Key practices. This is where the rubber meets the road. They have foundational practices with a bunch of bullets. Then they have sustaining practices with a bunch of bullets. And then they have enhancing practices with a bunch of bullets. Okay, let's go back up here. Guys. Okay, Jerry, like you've sold me. I'm ready to secure the supply chain. I'm ready to take it to my management and explain that this is real. We got to do it. There's value here. Or we're already a decently protected organization and we need to address the supply chain. Or, by the way, guys, you're implementing NIST cybersecurity framework, which has an entire family for supply chain. It's the SC family. Well, they don't call them families, categories, right? How do you implement security for supply chain? This is the document to tell you. Now, how do you, like, okay, so when does talk turn into action? Okay? This section 3.4 is where you do it. You would spend a lot of time in this section if you get this document, okay? Which is free. Foundational practices. Notice that each bullet starts with a verb. This is what you do, okay? By the way, if you, this is kind of a niche thing right now, but if you wanted to really like kick a mud hole in an interview, read and try to memorize some of these foundational practices. And if even a sniff of the word supply chain comes up in your interview, drop these knowledge bombs on them. Even mention 800-161r1 as a new pub. You might even give them something they didn't know about. Or if they're asking you like, where's the industry going? Where do you see the industry in 3 years? What are your thoughts on what's trending? Supply chain risk is trending. And these are things that we can do to fix it. So the foundational ones are basic fundamental building blocks that we want to use in order to build a supply chain risk management practice and capability at our organization. Dude, establish a core dedicated multidisciplinary supply chain risk management PMO office. Okay, this is true, and the document explains all of this. But guys, do you know how much it costs to establish a core dedicated multidisciplinary cybersecurity risk management program management office? Like, those are humans. That's an entire new department. Like, you might have a PMO office and maybe you can get some resources from there, but this isn't free. This requires humans to execute on. This is one of the biggest, I don't want to call it problems, but this is one of the biggest obstacles that organizations are going to need to overcome in order to solve for cyber supply chain risk management. And I'm telling you right now, management can say that they support you all day long. They can send out emails about how wonderful you are and how cyber supply chain risk management is serious. When you tell them that they need to hire staff or spend money on professional services to implement this first bullet, then we'll see how much they support you. This is not easy, people, okay? Obtain senior leadership support. That really should be the first bullet, because the second bullet is where you prove whether or not it's actually going to work, okay? Okay, implement risk management hierarchy, 839. That's basically this. By the way, in my experience, I've been around the block for a few days. Most people do the tier 3. Most people go all in on the tier 3, and tangentially a little bit on tier 2, and then not really tier 1. Some larger organizations will do enterprise risk management, but for the most part, it's focused down at tier 3. Okay. All right, so I won't spend any more time digging in here. Just know that these are the bullets that are considered foundational. So now, and by the way, it doesn't say this in the document that I read, but don't ever think that you need to accomplish all of the foundational practices before you can start on the sustaining practices. Okay, you should strive to get all the foundational ones in, but if you have 80% and you're doing pretty good, and you have an opportunity to enhance or mature some of those other controls just by virtue of your program or funding or whatever management's serious about this quarter, don't sleep on the opportunity to improve these other layers, okay? So the sustaining practices, it's rinse and repeat, guys. Rinse and repeat. It's basically more advanced, right? So now you're introducing a threat-informed security program, which, by the way, you should already have. That's how a security program should be operating, is threat-informed, but whatever. I digress. Okay, they talk about formal processes, documentation. This is a lot of this maps to how you would mature anything, right? You have ad hoc processes, then you have standards, then you document the standards, then you review the documentation, then you try to automate based on repeatable processes. So you can see that it's all part and parcel here. And then finally, they have level 3 practices, right? You've unlocked the Kraken, right? Right, so you figured out how to do the fireball, and you're ready to mature your processes to a level that's dope. Okay, so that is all I wanted to say about that. You could see here they also map it to the NIST Cybersecurity framework. Very valuable with the implementation tiers. I basically just spoke to the fact of maturing it the way I just said it. It's very similar to what they do in NIST CSF tiers. I just summed it up in an easier way to digest. Okay. Again, this is kind of a tear sheet, if you will, of those bullets, right? It's kind of a shorthand. You can print this out and make this, the agenda for a meeting on how launching a cybersecurity supply chain risk management practice at your business, or capability of your information security office. Which, by the way, guys, here's another fun fact based on what I read in this thing. They call it cybersecurity supply chain risk management, and that's what it is. But what they really are doing here is just supply chain risk management, right? It needs to be an enterprise wide, right? That's why it's mapped to the 839. That's why it's at all 3 levels of this. And just based on reality, and some of the gray hairs, my fellow gray hairs in chat might be able to comment on this. Based on reality, if you call this a cybersecurity supply chain risk management capability, the people who don't work in cybersecurity, the people who are tech agnostic, they are going to tune this out, because they're going to be like, this is a cybersecurity problem. This is an IT problem. Maybe the acquisition procurement people get it because they're like, oh, we buy tech. But management's not really going to, they're like, oh, we have a CIO. That's what this is for. So just be mindful on how you use the phrasing of this, because you don't want to you don't want to lose people before you even get out the gate. Okay, so that's just kind of my thoughts and best practices based on many years of doing crap like this. Okay. So this is how you can measure performance. Again, if you're looking at this graphic at this point in your supply chain risk management implementation process, you're in good shape, because you don't measure stuff until you have stuff happening with some level of consistency, so you could start measuring it to see, can we improve it, where are the gaps, etc. Okay, so just know that it's this document's comprehensive, though, because they are giving you everything from how to do it to how to measure it. Okay, you can see here's some examples of measuring. I won't spend much time on metrics and measurements. Okay. Oh, they have these call outs for key takeaways. I honestly didn't find them huge value. You know, read them. You can value for yourself what you think about the value of these key takeaways. For me, I just found reading the document was good. But okay, now here's where we get into the appendices. Okay, so the first 63, it's a 326 page document. The first 63 pages is the actual guidance on cybersecurity supply chain risk management practices. Right now we're in the appendices, which NIST, if you've ever read a NIST special pub, they are all about their appendices. Lupe knows what I'm talking about. NIST fangirl there. They love their appendices. I love the appendices. So let's look at what their appendices actually say. So let's go up to the table of contents real quick. Okay. Okay. So check this out. The first appendice is the cybersecurity supply chain risk management security controls. Now, somebody earlier in chat had mentioned 853, which is basically the information security control catalog that NIST puts out. Okay, and a lot of security documentation will point to NIST 853. So what have they done here? Couple things. One, they give you a little bit of an idea what's going on. They tell you how to tailor, which is more of an advanced technique in selecting controls for your organization. But I want to show you one thing, and then I want to tell you something that I think is absolutely dynamite. And I haven't seen this before, and you guys should totally implement it if you do. So they go into the security controls. Access control. This is a standard control. All the controls here from 853. They give you supplemental guidance as it relates to supply chain. This is ammunition for when you're trying to explain to stakeholders, what are we doing here? Why are we doing it? How do we implement controls with context for supply chain? How do we augment our existing controls for supply chain? This supplemental guidance is sick, right? And you can see here they've also included levels 2 and 3, right? So we talked about those foundational practices. We talked about the sustaining ones, right? The different tiers of maturity. So account management is a pretty important control. I'm kind of surprised it's not level 1. But anyways, you could see, you could call out which levels and which controls you need. And they go on with selecting control enhancements. There's usually a lot of control enhancements for each control. They've pulled out the ones that are relevant here. So it rinses and repeats for all the controls. I'm going to boogie down here to a table that's equally awesome. And basically sums up all the controls that you would be using. Yeah, hold on 1 second. These are all the controls. This is how you implement supply chain risk in a cybersecurity program. Okay, look at all these controls. Oh, you're delicious. You're delicious, NIST 853. Okay, hold on. Where's this table I need? There it is. Okay, so check it out. They have this quick lookup table. They have this quick lookup table of all the controls that are inside. Now, you can see on the far right, they have levels 1, 2, and 3, right? So choose level 1, and then you just look at the controls that are in there. There's an X, it's in scope, right? So AC1 in scope. I've got so many screens up, I can't see right now, but what do we got here? What is this? AC18, wireless access, right? That's in scope. AC20, use of external systems, wicked obviously in access, right? This is like cloud-based systems, etc. Okay, so this is a huge value. Now here's the bonus round, okay? Hold on, okay. I'm doing the Mario coins because this is the bonus round. This is value add that I have not seen anywhere else until now, and mad props to the authors of this document. You guys see that flow down control column, right? Column 2, this column right here. This is flow down to subcontractors. So again, if you are implementing supply chain risk at your organization, you may actually be a manufacturing company that's pushing product to someone. You may be in the middle of the supply chain, right? Or you could be like a major producer, like let's say you're Booz Allen Hamilton, right? They have tons, or Northrop Grumman, or any of these major players on the professional services government contracting side, right? It's not uncommon to win the contract, be the prime, and then you turn around and sub it out, right? So it's to this day I don't understand how that market even exists. But anyways, a lot of money in it. These flow down controls are stipulating that these controls must pass from prime to sub in all contract language. So when you're saying, hey, you know, whatever, Justin Gold Consulting, I'm Simply Cyber Consulting, I want $100 million contract. I want you to handle the ball bearings for this tank contract I won, right? Or I want you to make the Pelican cases that my wicked fancy radar is going to go into, okay? Oh, and by the way, Justin Gold Consulting, you're allowed to bid on the contract, but you must include these security requirements in your bid. Like, how are you doing this? And this is kind of similar to 800-161. They did not go into detail in this document that I read on how it maps to 171 CMMC, FAR-CUI rules. So I don't know if there's a mapping, but because it's all NIST 853, there will be an ability to map these things one-to-one. So I'm not wicked sweat about that. But just know, these flow down controls are cool. This empowers businesses to require subs to do things. Guys, hold on. I got to do another popping. I'm getting a little, hold on. Listen. Hold on, where's my popping? Jesus. Listen, you guys don't know. Like when you, well, some of you know. When you try to tell an organization, like, listen, we're not going to use your product unless you do this, or you're not going to win the contract unless you do this, but the executive plays golf with the executive of that company, right? Or their wives are have lunch together all the time, or actually their husbands have lunch together all the time. I don't want to stipulate the bias that CEOs are male only, right? Or they, like, all four of them, husband, wife, and husband, right? Like, let's get this all sorts of modern, right? So they all play golf together, right? If you try to say, hey, listen, you have to do these things or you can't bid on it, well, you might get pushback. Well, with this particular flow down, you can require it and be like, listen, this is what we require. This is the thing, man. So either do it or don't do it. And again, go back to the very second bullet of the foundational practices. Senior management support is required. Again, saying in an email to the organization that security is important is different than actually funding it and making hard decisions that show that you support it, right? Like, this is why, guys, I know this is a little tangential to what we're talking about here, but this is why when a company has a breach and they send out a public notice that says, we take security and privacy very seriously here, it's almost laughable. And that's why we laugh. And that's why they invest a ton of money into cybersecurity after their breach, because they've felt what having their butt singed feels like, and they don't like it. Okay. Now I'm getting all sorts of ranty. All right. A little spicy. By the way, how's this? Hold on. That's not what. Is that too loud for a sound effect? I'm trying to dial in the audios. Okay. Let me know in chat. So anyways, the flow down controls are all there. What else do I have in my notes? Okay. What are we doing on time? Oh, I've got 9 minutes. Listen, I'm going to just tell you the last couple things that you need to know about, and then I'm going to jump off, okay? So check this out. You're going to love this. All right. They give you guidance on how to calculate risk using this risk exposure framework. Now, okay, thanks, Justin Gold. Let me dial it down. Of course, you said the music was too loud too, Justin. So let me throttle down my soundboard a little bit. Here we go. Okay, guys, so check this out. I'm going to go quick now. This is the lightning round, okay? They explain to you how to calculate risk. This is the modern way of calculating risk, and I'm not talking about the fair risk assessment methodology, which introduces quantification. This is the idea where you look at threat-based attacks and then back up how exposed you are to those threats being realized in your environment and what the impact would be, right? So think of ransomware, and then you operate on that. So that is very cool. This is like a little hidden gem. This is a step-by-step on how to do a risk exposure calculation. So if you're a GRC person, if you're going to interview for a GRC job, Lupe, you may want to check out this particular appendix, because it literally, look at step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It tells you exactly what to do. Now, granted, it is filtered on or qualified for supply chain risk, but it's generic enough where I'm telling you right now, it can apply to more use cases. They give you all these tools to use. And then this is cool. They give you, I think, 6 different scenarios on what supply chain risks could be, right? And they're diverse. So even if you have no clue what you're doing or how to do it, you could use these 6 scenarios as example scenarios to walk through with management, with the business, with leadership, and you're going to look like aces, because these are real scenarios. Okay, we get into espionage, and they fill it all out, right? This is real value. This looks like someone, an analyst, went through this exercise and documented it. Okay, so don't sleep on this appendix, okay, because it's awesome. The final one I want to show you is these are all the threat scenarios. Okay, the final thing I want to show you is all these threat scenarios are great. There's 6 of them, like I said. The final thing I want to show you is the templates. Okay, NIST isn't going to let you down or let you go without templates to implement what they said. Guys, there are so many templates. I'm going to show you just one here really quick, and then I'll go up to the appendices, right? This is for your executive group. This is the first one you're supposed to do. This is the strategic plan for how you're going to handle supply chain risk at your organization. Guys, here's the purpose section. It tells you what it is. Here's the, sample text. This is even like an example purpose, right? So you could literally just copy and paste this to start with on how to implement or how to develop a strategic implementation plan. Guys, they're giving you the keys to the kingdom here. You can start. It's like starting a race and being like 3/4 of the way down the track when the starter pistol goes. You guys are going to blow management's mind when you're like, oh, hey, like I want to introduce this thing, and hey, I've got these ideas. Here's some scenarios we can execute on. Here's a bunch of draft plans I've written. Here's some processes. What do you guys think? It greases the skids significantly. Okay, so you can see here they've got the authority and compliance section, strategic objectives, right? Objective 1, 2, and 3. Guys, you can copy and paste this. It's fantastic. So remember that flow chart with all the different documents that they had? Yes, they have a template for all of those documents. Where are they? Where is it? Hold on. Yeah, here they are. Look at this. They have a template for the strategic plan for your executives. They have a policy, right? Template. They have a plan template. And they have, this is the operational one that me, you, and all the other people in the trenches would want to use. This one's going to get frayed edges, like an old baseball card that's been passed around too many times. This section 4 right here. This is the template on how to do risk assessment for supply chain risks, okay? Dude, I'm telling you people, it's hard to do, but my secret tip for you is, if you're a small business, if you're a 3-person shop, if you don't think you're going to get the funding or the support for like committees and executive management, strategic objectives and stuff like that, my advice to you would be work from the bottom up. You're supposed to go from the top down to align with the 839. But as I said earlier, in my experience, tier 3 gets a lot of work done, and tier 1 hardly, you don't see it very often at organizations. So take advantage of these templates, take advantage of these threat scenarios, put them together and work your way up. I'm telling you, if you bring solutions, if you bring a problem to a manager or executive and you already have a solution fully baked, they're very likely to go with the fully baked solution, and you're going to look amazing. Talk about job security. Okay. Appendix E, this FASCA thing, in my opinion, unless you work in the federal IT space, you don't need to worry about this. I would just ignore it. The Appendix F, I think this is the document authors explicitly addressing Executive Order 14028, which called for NIST to write this document. So they're explicitly saying, hey, you asked us to do this. This is our work product. Like, check the box, okay? And then, like every other NIST document, here's a glossary acronyms. If you're not wicked familiar, if you don't you haven't worked in the space for a while, these tables, these appendices can add value to you. If you come across a word, a phrase, an acronym, or something in the document itself that you're not familiar with, you can go back there. Again, this is a classic NIST document. It's comprehensive. It stands on its own. It can be integrated with other NIST elements and frameworks. You know, frankly, kudos to the NIST people. Like, good job, John Boyens, Angela Smith, Nadia Bartol, Chris Winkler, Alex Holbrook, Matthew Fallon. You guys crushed it, okay? This is a great document. It's going to be challenged. It's going to be a challenge for sure, guys. This isn't like a weekend project, right? This is going to be hard. All right, guys, that was an hour of me, unscripted, flipping out about the NIST 800-161, and I feel good about it. I feel good about flipping out on it. I did take a bunch of notes. I've got highlighting all over the place. See if there's any other key things here in my notes. Yeah, it aligns to 837. Yeah, I said here, like, the cyber supply chain risk management, it needs committees and work groups to actually function at a large enterprise. This is where cultural transformation costs will actually be realized, and that in the fact that it will be more work for everybody, including executives. If they are truly supportive, they will do that. The one thing that really was surprising, though, I found like 3 typos in this document. NIST usually catches those typos. I mean, not that I'm going to be like, oh, this document's trash. There's a typo in here. F this thing. No. It's a great document, guys. All right, so I've actually got a couple minutes. I'll hang on the line if anyone has any questions or anything. I know I kind of just flipped out at you, but I was in the zone and I was feeling it, and I wanted to really share all that stuff. So, any questions? Anybody? Did I print it at work? Well, kind of. I work from home, so I printed it over there. I did print it, Bob, for what it's worth. I did print 4 pages per page and double-sided. So try to save the trees. I have delusions of grandeur that I'll 3-hole punch this and save it, but in reality, I'll just move it around my desk for a month and then throw it away. Where the dog's at? They're asleep on the couch. I don't want to wake the beasts. Let's see. A school around me offer. Hold on, Blake. I could bring this on screen. Let's see. School around me offers information systems and supply chain management with a concentration in cybersecurity. Does it sound good to anyone? I'm trying to see if I should get that degree. A school around me offers information systems and supply chain management. Huh. Is that a 4-year degree, a 2-year degree, like a boot camp, a vocational program? I'd be curious. Blake, like, supply chain is a relatively new area. I don't feel like, when people ask me like where to focus, like, cloud is huge, cloud's growing, cloud's getting lots of money. So that's a safe bet. Supply chain, if you look at the industry, the information security industry, and a couple, big retail hacks. Okay, thanks, Blake. A couple big hacks, like, supply chain is becoming more and more front and center. The fact that the executive order required this, the fact that this document just got published and it's a big deal, the fact that the federal government's going to start requiring 800-171 compliance in some form or fashion, whether it's FAR, CUI, or it's CMMC. So supply chain is going to be in the conversation. I think it could be good. With this particular program, though, it's really hard, because even if you found someone who just graduated, I don't know if supply chain has grabbed hold of the industry as a area of demand right now. Like, you might be playing it in the way where by the time you graduate in 4 years, supply chain is going to be like the new cloud. So, I mean, if the school's good, if the program looks good, if you get access to like actual technical stuff in the cybersecurity program and information systems, like basically how networking works and operating systems, maybe not an operating systems class, but like the concept of operating systems, that would be good. Can you talk about the student? Yeah, exactly. Justin Gold's got good comments there. Bob, I didn't, my notes are, I don't really have notes I can share like that. This maybe the transcription of this video could be good notes. Let's see. All right, I'm just looking through comments here, guys. I don't know if this is a joke, Bob, about having a course on the GRC stuff. Yeah, downloading the 161 is definitely the first step. You know, for me, when I read documentation, I need to print it out. I need to get heads down. I need to, you know, put blinders on. I can't be distracted. You know, hey, let me actually try something really quick, guys, while I've got you on the phone. Simply Cyber. Like, so, information security. YouTube has a new feature called, like, live redirect. It's basically like raids. Oh, thank you, Bob. It's basically like raids on Twitch. So if you guys want to hang out, I'll try to answer questions right now. If people have questions, I'm not going to just stand here and stare at the camera. But if people have questions, we could go to 3:30 and then we could try to live redirect into Outpost Gray's live stream. We could try that out and just see how it works. It would be cool to understand how to do live streams. Yeah, and definitely, if you're not on the Discord, Blake, give that. Oh, Justin Gold just got it, nailed it. Let me see my content live. Let me see. I'm looking in this right now, guys. All right. Hey-o. All right. All right. Let's see. Hooray for raids. Yeah, Jess Bishop. Raids are cool. I don't know how to exactly do it. Yeah, let me try this. Sorry, you guys just staring at me. I'm trying to figure this out. They don't make it easy, I'll tell you that much. Here we go. Outpost Gray. Ask creators to add you to their list in community settings. Once the channel gives you redirect permissions, you can send your viewers to any of its streams or premiere. Hold on one second. I should share this with you guys instead of me reading it to you. Right? This is me trying to do a redirect. See this redirect here? And if I try to type Outpost Gray, I can't do that. Community settings. There's a ban user. Oh, live redirect. Oh, cool. Let me see. I'll add a couple people. Cyber insecurity. Nope. Outpost Gray. Nope. Dude, what a dumb system. You are so dumb. I really need to get that sound effect. All right, so maybe we won't raid. Jax. All right, 42 people, guys. Any questions? Any topics? Anything? AMA. You guys got anything you want to know? What, dude? I'm telling you what. I get so mad when things don't work the way they're supposed to. Okay. You are so dumb. Yes, Justin, that's exactly right. I mean, I'll talk, guys. GRC training link. Yeah, I can do that. You know what I should do? Hold on. Let's do this. I should do nightbot.tv. Let's do this. Bob. We'll do this in real time. Ready? What do you think it should be? Exclamation point GRC or course? Let's do GRC. Check out the GRC Analyst Masterclass. You guys get to see behind the curtain here. All right. Command fail. Oh, command already exists. Hold on. The command already exists. Let's see. Bob, we may be just that good. What? Come on. Do I have a cooldown on me? Yeah. Exclamation point GRC. Apparently, we got it. Way to go, guys. Tech interview for a SOC position Monday. I keep watching your playlist over and over. Oh, thanks, Irish. Yeah, I hope the best for you. I hope it works out. Hopefully you've been attending the morning daily cyber threat briefing. That you're going to get asked at the interview how you stay current in information security. That is a dynamite answer. Or you can tell them cisoseries.com. You could tell, well, you shouldn't tell them a lie. You should answer it honestly, but you could listen to Sans Internet Stormcast. You could listen to cisoseries.com. You could listen to Simply Cyber's daily cyber threat briefing. You could subscribe to Recorded Futures daily email thread. You could subscribe to CISA and DHS's cybersecurity threat alert emails. There's a lot of different ways. Obviously, Twitter, InfoSec, but that can be a mixed bag. So, oh, well, great, Irish. You're all set. Also, Irish, you may be interested later today. Come on. I'm so annoyed by this stupid redirect thing. Later today, Irish, we're doing this. If you don't know about it. Let's see. Right? Oh, come on. I don't want to hear me. Hey, Chris Hidalgo. Thanks for that. Thanks for the squad support, Chris. We're doing this later today. It's an interview question and answer. I know you're going for SOC analyst, but the GRC space, it wouldn't hurt to hear some of the answers there. Might give you some context on creative ways to answer questions. I'm sure you're going to get some more technical stuff, but you may get asked around threat intelligence. You may get asked about how you might interact with the business. Like, say you discover let's say you discover an endpoint, like your EDR solution's pinging that there's crypto mining going on an endpoint. How might you talk to the end user, right? So that's interfacing with the business. You might get some of that at the GRC space, just as a free Q&A. Definitely contact them, through either emails, direct message, phone call if possible. Confirm with them whether or not they're aware of it. You have to assume positive intent, right? They may have installed it themselves, but chances are they didn't. Maybe you get some, you might want to look at what kind of crypto miner it is that's flashing in the EDR solution, do a little bit of research, Google, maybe it's a Chrome extension, maybe it's a executable that executes on the endpoint. So you've got to understand like what kind of threat it actually is. Then when you talk to the person, maybe you ask them what they did earlier today. Have they been to this weird site? Do they remember getting a pop-up, et cetera, and then try to help them remediate the problem. Just speaking clear and trying to get the issue resolved. And, if worst comes to worst, if you have a halfway decent EDR solution, you can isolate the machine on the network to prevent it from moving laterally. Okay? So you got this, Irish. I'm pumped for you. Yes, Bob. Yeah. I love playing games, guys. ThreatGen's Red versus Blue, dynamite platform. I was using it long before I started working for ThreatGen, and I'm not unhappy about continuing to use it. Basically, every Wednesday at 11:30. By the way, Erica McDuffie is going to be joining me. I text messaged her earlier, and she's interested in joining us for the GRC entry level interview, right? So I'm actually gonna. I couldn't find any interview questions, so it's gonna be kind of off the cuff. But I've got a good, I've interviewed tons of people for GRC, so I don't think it'll be a hard thing. How to wiggle into a GRC role that is currently in the hands of the sec team engineers. Took your course, security team knows I did. They know I want in, and that's what I'm in a BS for cyber. Okay, so I guess Anissa, let me ask you this: Are they wanting you to come in, and it's more about how to negotiate that from like a business transaction, or are they being apprehensive or gatey, and you're trying to figure out how to get in that way? Let me know in chat, and then I'll give you a more tailored response for your problem. Yeah, well, I mean, you're right, you could just ask, but you could start delivering value too, and actually just basically make yourself part of the team unofficially, and then over time, it'll happen. So Chris is asking about the labs for the GRC. Oops. Oh, you can star them. Huh. I didn't know that. That's cool. The labs, I haven't done much with them, Chris. I felt like the GRC class had enough going on with it that it wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't a priority, but I just have so much going on with the new job. Like you may have noticed that my produced videos, which I was doing every Monday for 2 years, that I pushed those to every other Monday starting the first of the year. And even that has been very difficult to maintain. The labs are involved, frankly. I will say that the policy one has a lab. The security awareness one has a very robust lab. I feel like the audit one and the risk one could be done as one lab, where like we do the audit piece first in a workbook, and then in the risk lab we take that same workbook and then do a risk analysis on likelihood and impact on gaps. So it can be done. It's probably going to happen this summer. Honestly, I'm trying to get through a couple things with threat gen right now, so I'm not super pumped. But at the same time, the reason that I rushed out the video content for the GRC masterclass the way I did is because I kept getting, more things kept popping up. So I finally said, I got to do this, and I just made those live videos. So I hope you can appreciate that. What did Anissa say here? Anissa. Oh, I'm sorry. We just released a framework for moving up or into other teams. Aside from that, what else could give me a leg up? Oh, well, again, so like, let's assume Anissa that the security team wants you to join, right? Let me look at your original statement. So, I mean, okay, so here's the first thing that comes to my mind. You said security team engineers, right? So when I think engineers, I think more hands-on keyboard, operating the firewalls, configuring stuff, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to work in GRC, that's more of an analyst role. There's basically like just like beers can either be ale or lager. When you boil it down, in cybersecurity, you're either an engineer or you're an analyst, right? Those are the only two roles. And what version of those is the context of what the jobs are, but analyst and engineer. So if you're calling them security team engineer, my suspicion is that they're all engineers and they don't have analysts. So you could add direct value immediately by being the analyst. What I would encourage you to do, engage them and say, hey, like, basically, what challenges are they having in regards to engaging the business, right? And you may want to focus, if they have a CISO or a team lead, speak directly to that individual and say, hey, listen, if it's about they've got to be getting security questionnaires, right? Those things are a pain in the butt to fill out. I do try not to cuss on this stream. they're a pain in the butt to fill out, but that's GRC work. So if they have questionnaires, hey, throw them my way, and I'll do the first cut of them, cut down a lot of the heavy lifting for you guys. That's a great way to get in. Fill those questionnaires out. Another thing that's a really huge one is vulnerability management, right? So it's wicked hard to get people to patch their crap, to hunt down like, hey, who owns this webcam? Who owns this piece of weird equipment? Who owns this Windows XP box? Whatever. Hunting down those things takes time and effort. Again, you could do that. That's value add, right? So what I would say is take those two ideas that I just came up with. Thirdly, hey, I'd love to do tailored cybersecurity educational awareness. I don't know what kind of company you work at, but like, hey, I'd love to go talk to the financial and accounting people about business email compromise. I'd love to go talk to management about ransomware. I'd love to go talk to, whatever department, the marketing department, really the sales department. Those salespeople, they fall for fishes all the time. Let me go talk to the salespeople and educate them on phishing. Those are three different unique user groups that you could have tailored cybersecurity education for. That's not, the engineers aren't going to do that. So right there, Anissa, those are three different solutions that you could bring to that team as something you could provide to them, and you don't even have to be on the security team to do it. But if you did all three of those, all of them are ongoing efforts, right? So if you start doing ongoing efforts, you start getting brought in, you start having to join the team meetings because you need to brief them on the questionnaires or the current state of vulnerability management, you're going to work your way into that team. That's what I would suggest for that. Okay. Let's see. I think your idea of pushing my way in was good, and I've been gently trying. Yeah, no analyst on the team. Yeah, I mean, gentle's good, but solve their problems. That's the real thing. If most information security teams are drowning, right? We're not getting the bandwidth. The resources or the headcount to solve all of our problems. And this is why risk is an entire area all into itself, because you literally have to choose which are the worst problems for us to focus on, because we can't solve all of them. So if you come at them with hey, I'm here to help you solve your problems, not solve my problem of wanting to get a job on your team. Let me solve your problem. That always is well received. Yes, I'm drowning and you're offering to throw me a lifeline? Hell yeah, I'll grab that lifeline all day. So definitely do that, Anissa. Smart home products? Oh yeah. Come on now, this supply chain risk management briefing that I just gave, that should, you might even be able to parlay that into hey, we do smart home products. We manufacture stuff, right? Supply chain, you guys are getting your products from somewhere before you assemble them. I'd be a little careful. Like I said earlier, supply chain is still kind of a burgeoning area of interest. So a lot of people don't necessarily see the value of it right away. Let's see. I think I'm going to start doing my live streams on Restream only, guys. I work in smart home. I could ramp up again, put IT gal. Cool. Kick those doors open. Candace knows what's up. Candace kicks doors. I think Candace has 4 legs, the amount of doors she's kicking down. Here we go, Lupe. Any good habits you feel contribute to your success that you can share, Jerry? To my personal success? Yeah, I guess, people say a lot of the same stuff, but really, consistency and vigilance, guys. It's so easy. It's so easy to have a great idea and start on it because you're excited, and that momentum of excitement carries you through a quarter of the way, and then it becomes work, and it becomes hard, and it becomes easy to find other stuff that is really, really interesting and really, really exciting. Sometimes you just gotta put the finish line out there, and like always remember, like, I'm working towards this, and make the real decisions on whether or not, even if something sounds wicked cool and wicked exciting, whether or not you want to put in the time effort to go after it. Right? Like I'll just to give you an example, right? Like this is something that I learned from a guy named Jacob Neal that I worked with. Like I don't know how he did it, but like he could take like the most mundane task and he would just work it until it was done, and then he would move on to the next task. He was like a robot, and I really, really appreciated it. So I try to adopt that. And I know that I'm all over the place all the time, but like if I do something, I try to do it to the end, and I try to improve it a little bit each day. That's kind of one thing, Lupe. And the other thing is being organized. And I get made fun of a lot for how like almost neurotic I am about my organization. But when things are organized, you're able to find them fast. To me, a clean space, whether it's a digital, Explorer, like directory with all your files. Oh crap. Hold on one second. Organize stuff. Yes. One second. Organize stuff. Organize mine. Guys, I just got an emergency communication that I have to address, so I have to end the stream right now. Go check out Outpost Gray in 7 minutes. Guys, thanks so much. Sorry I had to end abruptly, but this thing just became a pressing urgency, so I got to go. Take care, everybody.